Hi there, Mai Mitzig here, Deputy Director for Policy at Children First.
I'm here with one of my favorite people at Children First, Dan O'Brien, who is our Director of Family Economic Stability. And today, I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'm not even give you a lead in. Today we're here to talk about paid family and medical leave here in Pennsylvania.
Now Dan, I moved here in 2020 from New York, and I looked at an old pay stub and saw that I paid about $3 a week for paid family medical leave through the state program. And then I was shocked when I moved here because I was pregnant in 2021, and we don't have paid family leave here in Pennsylvania. Can you tell me why?
First of all, I'll take one of your favorite people. Let's make sure we get that on record. No, I think so. Pennsylvania, like in many issues impacting working families, has really fallen behind our neighbors. I think we definitely certainly have a different political dynamic where we are a purple state. You know, Trump won Pennsylvania. We have a Democratic governor who won in a landslide, and so we have to have compromises. And I think what that does is slow down progress a little bit, but it also could lead to better legislation and better programs if the two sides come together. But I think we do not have paid family leave and other initiatives impacting working families because we really haven't come to the table to have those compromises. And so I think when you're seeing states like New York and yourself and your friends and family have been able to take advantage of these programs, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland have recently passed it. I think if Pennsylvania wants to keep up with the rest of the country on really focusing on working families, then we need to have a paid family medical leave program. So this is an opportunity, even though we haven't had it. I think because we really do have to come to the table and have harder compromises, that has really slowed down the progress so far.
Yeah, and I think people don't get to see how the sausage is made, and right. Compromise is how policy is made. Can you talk a little bit about what's in the bill? Like, what does it cover? What are we proposing? Like, what do we want to see?
Yeah, so if you ask folks around the country who have worked on this issue, this could be the strongest piece of legislation that we have in the United States of America, and that's because we have come to the table with both sides. Democratic, Republican. We have Democrats that control the House, Republicans that control the Senate, and not only have we talked to both sides of the aisle, we have talked to families and what they need. We've talked to local businesses on how they would feel it would impact them. And what that has done is created a piece of legislation that would, again, be the strongest in the country. And so basically, if you have a baby or if you have a serious illness or a loved one does, you can qualify for this program. You would pay into it. You have to be working for the previous 12 months to be paying into this program. And so this is not a handout. This is workers earn this program. And what it does is if you ever have those big life occasions where you need to leave work for a bit to take care of yourself or a new child, you would get a certain percentage of your wages back. And what we have found is without that, people have gone broke. People have fallen into credit card debt. People have lost their jobs or left their jobs. And really, if we want to keep people in the workforce long term, it's basically providing access to paid family and medical leave.
Yeah. Well, you're starting to talk about it, but I want to hear a little bit more about how this is a bipartisan bill.
Yeah.
And I heard there's a poll that came out recently, too, that showed that it had bipartisan support. Can you share a little bit more?
Yeah, so the Family Care Act has always been a bipartisan effort. So this is now like the 8th year where we've had a Family Care Act in Pennsylvania, and we've always had a Democratic lead and a Republican lead in both the House and the Senate. And that's because this is a bipartisan issue. When you look and you ask voters around Pennsylvania, which we did, you can see the supermajority of voters want this. And so recently there was a poll that we did, and we asked voters around the Commonwealth, would you want a statewide paid family medical leave program, and basically why you feel like you would need it. 81% of voters across the Commonwealth want a statewide paid family medical leave program passed. 67% of GOP voters. And so when you talk to both Democrats in the House and Republicans in the Senate, we never start at a conversation where this is a partisan issue that's a far left issue or a far right issue. And you're seeing at the national level as well, where these are pro-family issues. And every single person, whether they are a Democrat or Republican or independent, has a family member that had a child, has a family member that had a serious illness like cancer. And they know the folks that had paid leave, how well off they were coming out of those scenarios, and the folks in their families that did not have access to paid leave, how it kind of left them behind. And so I think now that you've had, really a long-term timeline where paid family leave is existing in other states, we have seen the benefits, and that has really brought both sides to the table, and the voters have seen the benefits in other states that people are getting, and they don't know why we don't have it in Pennsylvania. I live in Bristol in Bucks County, and I can see New Jersey from my house. And I can see people who have access to things like paid family leave and the impact that it has on their lives. And I have, family and friends that have moved there for benefits like this because, really when you're putting your work and your effort into your career, you want to make sure that you can continue that career if you have any of these big life, time occasions.
So it sounds like what you're saying is this is a winning issue, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, right? Like, this could be an issue for Shapiro if he ever wants to really tout a major win for Pennsylvania. This is an issue Pennsylvania can lead on in this country for other purple and red states. Is that right?
Oh, and the polling's clear on that.
Yeah.
This should not be a what if. This should be a race to the top. This should be a race to the finish line of who's going to really lead the effort. And the person or the party or the governor or whoever is leading that charge, they will be seen by the voters as a champion for families. At a time when families are facing so much uncertainty, we have the federal issues that are going on in terms of funding and how the uncertainty is in terms of in the workforce. This is an issue that can get done in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvanians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans in Harrisburg, should be pushing the effort now. Because when they go back home, no matter, there is literally not a negative that comes with us in the eyes of the voters. Many issues that are being debated, they're tough issues where there might be some negatives when it's not popular with everybody. There's literally not a negative when you look at the polling and paid family and medical leave. And even when you talk about how it could cost $3 a week for a worker, they're like, I want it. It's still well into the 70 or 80% of support. You don't see that on a lot of issues.
I am so excited about where we are right now. Now, walk me through what we can expect over the next 2 weeks, because this is crunch time for budget season, right?
Yeah, so we're really hoping that over the next week or two, we see the House make a move on running a version of the Family Care Act. And we also see and hope that we see the Senate do a similar thing. So we have a House version of the bill and a Senate version of the bill that are basically mostly the same thing. The coalition in which we help to co-chair, the Family Care Coalition, we are for either. We are championing both. We want to be a bicameral, both House and Senate issue. We want to be a bipartisan issue. And so really, again, we're urging leadership on both sides of the aisle to make this a race to the finish line. And we believe if they came to the table, that the majority in both the House and the Senate would vote yes on this. The question is, will they put it on the floor? And we really believe that over the next week or so, we can see movement in the House, and then we hope the House and the Senate can come together to the table to really finish, come up with a finished product. And we don't think it would take long. This is not the work has been done. The support has been built on both sides of the aisle. It literally will take leadership in the governor's office to come to the table to strike a deal, and that could happen over the next couple of weeks. Yeah. This is being looked at folks around the country, both Democrats and Republicans, as an opportunity to really springboard other states, red states, purple states like Pennsylvania, to do the same. You're seeing conversations at the national level that are being led by both Democrat, Congresswoman Houlihan, and Republicans in Washington, D.C. to try to find compromises on a paid family leave program. And they're looking at Pennsylvania as a way to help springboard their work. And so this is not something that's just kind of circling in Pennsylvania as a really, getting the focus here. People around the country are looking to us to lead, and this is an opportunity, I think, at a time when there's so much partisanship in D.C., that Pennsylvania can be looked at as a leader and actually still, doing their work, doing their job in terms of elected officials, and working together on something that would have a huge impact on Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much for unpacking this with me today, Dan. Reporting from the front lines, Mai and Dan, thanks for joining us today.